I'm gathering data right now to find out what is the best Coway air purifier, and as part of my research, I've bought their smallest air purifier, the Coway Airmega 100. As always, we bought the device with our own money and paid £99.99 from Amazon UK, but it is available in Europe and on Amazon.com for $129.99, and I will drop the links to those in the descriptions below. In this video, I will compare the Coway Airmega 100 to over 100 air purifiers we've tested here at House Fresh. I will look at our first-hand data on air cleaning performance, sound level generation, energy efficiency, and real-life user experience, as well as long-term running costs. If you want to find out more on how we test air purifiers, check out this video here. And as always, if you don't want to watch my full review of the Coway Airmega 100, here are the 3 things I like and the 4 things I don't. First, what I really like, it has very low energy consumption. And when you combine that with the low cost OEM filters, it has some of the lowest running costs for small air purifiers we've seen. It also includes a particle sensor with a decent auto mode. What I don't like, it has a higher initial cost than small models from Winix or Xiaomi, and I would like to see app support for this price that they're asking. It also has a lack of fan speeds, which means performance is lower when comparing performance at sub 45 decibel fan speeds. It also produces a sort of whistling grinding sound when running at its lowest fan speed. This is especially noticeable when running on its sleep mode. Okay, let's jump into the full review. Step 1 for me when assessing an air purifier is to head over to the Energy Star website to see if I can find that model in their database of certified air cleaners. By looking at a CADAR report, you can quickly tell if an air purifier will offer good value for money, and whether the manufacturer is happy to be transparent about performance, energy efficiency, and ozone emissions. If you can't find an air purifier in the Energy Star database, that can tell you something about the device and the brand behind it. In the case of the Airmega 100, Coway sent it to the Association of Home Appliance Manufacturers for a CADAR test back in 2024. Many of you will be pleased to learn that unlike many other Coway air purifiers, the Airmega 100 doesn't have an ionizer function. So the report shows 0 parts per billion of ozone emissions. Based on the AHAM's dust CADAR of 124 CFM, we expect the Airmega 100 to complete our air cleaning test as fast as the Winix A230, which did it in 40 minutes, or the Levoit Core 300S, which achieved it in 45 minutes. The CADAR report, though, only tells us performance at top speed, which is the loudest speed, and the one that you will only want to engage when absolutely necessary, which is why we will gather our data to estimate CADAR at quieter fan speeds. But before I share the results of our air cleaning tests, let me take you through the design and UX of this air purifier. Just like other small air purifiers on the market, the Airmega 100 has a cylindrical body that draws dirty air throughout its sides and releases the air through the top grille. In terms of options, you get the choice of white or black, and we went with the white because it was cheaper. On this point, I must say I really appreciate that Coway doesn't change the name of the model based on the colour like Winix does, as it's unnecessary and confusing. Going back to the design of the Airmega 100, the control panel is touch-based and sits on a dark, translucent grille at the top of the device, with a power button right in the centre. Moving clockwise from left to right, you get a button to engage sleep mode, a button to set fan speed, including auto mode, child lock, a filter replacement indicator, a button to switch between AQI and night light, or to turn off the lights, and finally a button to set a timer for 1, 2, 4, and 8 hours. You don't get a remote control or app connectivity, but you do get an onboard particle sensor on the left-hand side of the body that allows the Airmega to kick in automatically as soon as the air quality drops. The sensor also informs the air quality indicator inside the air inlet grille at the top of the unit. This real-time air quality indicator changes from blue, good, to green, moderate, to orange, unhealthy, to purple, very unhealthy, depending on the readings from the particle sensor inside the device. If you don't want to see the air quality indicator light, you can turn it off or switch to the night light, which is a faint shade of orange. I have to say, the LED light is easy to see from across the room, and it's a pretty cool addition to the design that makes it stand out from other cylindrical air purifiers. To access the filter inside the Airmega 100, you have to tip it upside down and turn the handle clockwise to open the case. The filter is a bonded cylindrical filter similar to what we find in the Winix A230 or the CleanAirKits Triple Exhalaron. You get 3 layers of filtration, starting with a pre-filter mesh that protects the true HEPA filter, lined with carbon impregnated fabric on the inside. I'm not a big fan of the cylindrical bonded filter because I do find it awkward to vacuum regularly, and you will need to vacuum it at least every 2 months to reduce the dust buildup on the pre-filter. Otherwise, the HEPA filter will be less effective. While you're at it, I would also recommend that you wipe the body of the air purifier down with a cloth and clean the particle sensor with a cotton swab to keep the quality readings more accurate. In terms of daily use, the Airmega 100 is a lightweight air purifier that is small enough to have on top of a side table. With the nightlight being so prominent throughout Coway's marketing, I imagine many people will buy this device to use in their bedroom at night. So let's move to the housefresh performance test. We first tested the Coway Airmega 100 at speed 3, which is its highest fan speed. According to our purple air sensor, the Airmega 100 running at max speed needed 40 minutes to clear our 728 cubic feet test room of all PM1 particles. Based on this result, we estimate a PM1 KDAR of 148 CFM, which does align with the reported PM2.5 KDAR from AHAM. But this result in isolation isn't very useful, so let's compare it to other similar devices running at their top speed. As you can see from the table, the Airmega 100 sits at the higher end of our ranking. So the air cleaning performance of this air purifier is good, but you do get more value with the Winix A230 and the Levoit Vital 100S. However, it's not just about raw power when running at top speed, especially with small devices which tend to be particularly noisy at high speeds. The reality is that if an air purifier is too loud, you will turn it off eventually, which is why we measure how much sound an air purifier generates from 3 feet away. And here are the results for the Coway Airmega 100 at each of its fan speeds. Be aware that our background noise is 35 decibels, so the Airmega 100 running at sleep mode is likely to be quieter if you could measure it in a silent room. But noise can be subjective, so please have a listen for yourself. I also made a comparison with other devices that have similar performance. The Coway Airmega 100 is the second loudest small air purifier on our list when running at top speed, coming second to the Winix A230. Like other Coway models, you don't get that many fan speed options with the Airmega 100, and this is likely to have a negative impact on our quiet performance test. Running at speed 2, the Airmega 100 generates 46.5 decibels, which is higher than the 45 decibel limit that we set for our quiet performance test. So we retested particle performance at speed 1, which generates 38.9 decibels of noise, and the Airmega 100 needed a whopping 2 hours and 18 minutes to reach PM10. We can compare these results with other small air purifiers running at sub 45 decibels. Due to the lack of fan speed options, the Airmega 100 really drops the ball at quiet fan speeds. It's in this chart that you can see that air purifiers like the AirFanta 3 Pro and the CleanAirKits Triple Exhalaron shine thanks to the incredible quiet operation of their PC fans. Based on the natural ventilation of our test room, we estimate a PM1 KDAR of 40 CFM for the Airmega 100 at speed 1. I repeated the particle removal test at speed 2, and it managed to clean all PM1 pollutants in our test room in 50 minutes, which we estimate to be 117 CFM. 50 minutes is the exact same result we got when running the Xiaomi Compact running at top speed, so it's a pretty good result for a small device. If you are okay with sound levels at speed 2, then the performance is a lot more powerful and effective than what you get at speed 1. But let's start adding up long-term costs to see how much money you need to spend each year to run a Coway Airmega 100 in your home. We used an energy meter to record how much energy the Airmega 100 uses when running at each fan speed, also while it's on standby. So if you had to leave your Airmega 100 running 24/7 at full speed, it would add an additional $25.77 to your energy bill every year based on the latest US average energy costs. With this calculation in mind, we can compare the annual energy cost against what we recorded for other small devices we've tested. As the table shows, the Coway Airmega 100 is one of the cheapest small air purifiers to run when looking at just energy speed. Of course, it can't really compete against the mighty Triple Exhalaron from CleanAirKits with its 3 super energy efficient PC fans. However, it's not just energy costs that add to the running costs of an air purifier. You will also need to replace the filters eventually. Coway says you need to replace the filters for the Airmega 100 every 12 months. The OEM filters for the Airmega 100 have a list price of $39.99, So you would need to spend nearly $40 each year on filter replacements. When combining this to energy consumption costs, you'll need to spend $65.76 to run your Airmega 100 at full capacity in your home every year. Let's compare this with other popular small air purifiers. I do worry that the carbon impregnated fabric on the inside of the HEPA filter will become full within 6 months, which would lead you to having to replace the filter sooner than the 12 months that Coway recommends. But I'll need to test this long term to confirm it, and I'll report my findings in the web version of this review on housefresh.com. So what do I think about the Coway Airmega 100? Is it worth the $129.99? Let's recap my findings. It has some of the lowest running costs of any other small air purifiers, which is also something we see from other air purifiers manufactured by Coway. That's assuming that the carbon impregnated gas filter doesn't give up sooner than 12 months. It doesn't come with a smartphone connectivity or smart features other than the auto mode. It does have an onboard particle sensor, and you'll be able to see air quality readings displayed in the form of a color-coded light at the top of the device. The upfront cost is higher than what you'll pay for smaller models from Winix and Xiaomi, but you could potentially lead to long-term savings if the filters do last for 12 months. But the lack of fan speed options means that it isn't as effective as cleaning the air at speeds that generate less than 45 decibels of noise. So running at speed 1 or sleep mode won't make a meaningful difference to your air as quickly as other small air purifiers would. Overall, I'd say this is a good device from Coway in a small package with some cool features like the nightlight function. But if you are looking for a small air purifier that you can place on the nightstand and use at real quiet fan speeds, then I would suggest looking into the CleanAirKits Triple Exhalaron or the AirFanta 3 Pro. Yes, they're bulkier, but they will offer excellent air cleaner performance at whisper quiet operation that won't wake you up at night. Alternatively, you could go with the Winix A230 for a cheaper price, and you can just make sure to disable the plasma wave if you don't want to use Winix bipolar ionizer technology. And if space is not as tight, I'd recommend upgrading to a mid-sized cylindrical air purifier, something like the Levoit Core 400S or the Winix T810. If you have any questions about the Coway Airmega 100, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. Woo!